Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing some drugstore reviews. Miss Foy has come to say hello. Hello Miss Foy, what are you doing? Do you want to come up and say hello? Yes? Oh, good girl. There you are, good girl. Don't lick my face, I just did my makeup. Good girl. This is still the Freya show. So, drugstore cleansers. I've not touched drugstore skincare in quite a long time. I was trying to work out how long it is. Freya, no. I was trying to get her nose into my lunch. I reckon it's probably been like 10-ish years at least. I really went off drugstore skincare when I discovered like K-beauty and J-beauty skincare. And I just felt like, you know, drugstore stuff just didn't really like touch the sides. It didn't compare. So I went to Priceline. They had a $10 cleanser sale. And at the time, I was really low on cleansers. I had two, both of them were almost finished. And I thought, you know what, $10 cleansers, probably a really good place to start with drugstore products, because how can you go wrong with a cleanser? How? I don't know. I don't think you personally can really, although my opinion on that has changed. For me, a cleanser is something that is on your skin for so little time. It doesn't really have a huge effect on your routine as long as it's doing what you want it to do. For me, I like a cleanser that is going to help to remove any excess residue from like my makeup remover. So typically I use a cleansing oil or a cleansing balm, and I want my cleanser to wash away any residue that may be left over from that, any makeup residue that's not quite come off the skin. I want it to help, you know, remove like sweat and dust and all that stuff from, you know, sleeping overnight. So I'm not asking for a lot out of my cleansers. I just want it to clean my skin, not irritate my skin, not leave it feeling super, super dry, because I do have dry skin, so that's a big thing for me. But really, I thought cleansers was a safe place to start, and at $10 each, I thought, my God, I can set myself up for like a year of cleansers for under $100. How exciting is that? And I mean, you can do that anywhere. You know, if you're buying like K-beauty or J-beauty, you can achieve that as well. But for me, this was, you know, I was like, this is great. It's going to be excellent. Everything's going to work out perfectly. I can tell you now, everything worked out really badly. So I picked up 7 cleansers. I will run through them really quickly. I got the number 7 Lift and Luminate Dual Action Cleansing Exfoliator because I also didn't have any physical exfoliants, and I thought, 2 birds, 1 stone. Let's get that. That sounds great. From L'Oreal, I got the Revitalift Smoothing Cleanser, which contains hyaluronic acid. Super dry skin girly. Need me some hydration. From Neutrogena, I picked up a few actually. I went with the Ultra Gentle Foaming Cleanser for sensitive skin. This one, I was like, this is not going to be the one for me. It's, you know, it's not targeted at who I am, but I figured I'm going to give it a go anyway because it's been such a long time. I have used this in the past, but we're going back like a really, really long time. I was a different person back then, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it because it might, you know, they might have changed it. I don't know. I didn't do any research. Who cares? It's a cleanser. It's not that deep. You know what I mean? Then I got the Hydro Boost Cleanser Jelly Milk and the Water Gel. I also picked up the Olay Regenerist Revitalising Cream Cleanser because I thought it would be a really good idea to throw a cream cleanser in there, especially since I have dry skin. I feel like if I'm doing a video talking about drugstore cleansers and sort of exploring that world after so many years, and mentioning that I have dry skin, I would be remiss in not getting at least one cream cleanser, so that's why I chose that one. And then I got one that I had never ever experienced the brand before. It's from Software. It is the Daily Cleanser. So I felt like I was touching all of the bases. You know, I had something that was designed for like older skin. Oh, nearly dropped it. Older skin, exfoliator. I've got something from, you know, my very young years that I'm bringing back. Some of the most popular lines, like Hydro Boost is a hugely popular line. I have a cream cleanser and I have something completely new. So I thought, I've touched a lot of bases. This is going to be really fun. They're cleansers. I'm going to be able to say the nicest things about them because I only have to do one job. I can tell you right now, I have had the worst experience with these, and I don't think I will ever touch drugstore skincare again in my life. Let's start with the exfoliator. So like I mentioned, I got the number 7 Lift and Luminate Dual Action Cleansing Exfoliator. So I didn't read the back of these. I just read what was on like the front of the tube. I didn't look over, or front of the packaging I should say. I didn't look over any of the ingredients. I just took stuff on face value because that's kind of how I shop when I'm in store. And if I'm just looking for something, you know, that if I need a cleanser, like I'm looking at things on face value. If I'm browsing, you know, new things, I'm probably going to buy it based on face value, the look of the packaging, maybe the scent of the product, or if it's something I can swatch, then maybe the consistency. So I didn't do any research on these. It was just, you know, get in there, pick some things as like a in-store consumer, and then take them home and use them. The description on the front of the package just here says cleansing exfoliate for smooth and radiant looking skin, prime skin for your age defying regime, and it's dermatologically tested. I was not expecting this to be a cream, but it is, with a couple of little like micro bits in it. It's not very exfoliating at all. In fact, like I would never try to use it as an exfoliator. I don't think it's effective. Even if I was actively trying to avoid cream cleansers while I was shopping, there's nothing on the back that mentions that it's a cream cleanser either. It calls it a daily dual action exfoliating cleanser that reveals refreshingly clean, smoother and radiant looking skin. It does mention that it's formulated with gentle exfoliating particles and a vitamin complex of C, E and B5, and it's supposed to help accelerate surface skin cell turnover, but it doesn't mention anywhere that it's a cream product. So unless I was to open this in store, I wouldn't have known. Now, even though I consciously purchased a cream cleanser for the purpose of the video because I have dry skin, I actually don't really like cream cleansers. I find that a lot of them leave a residue on the skin, and this simply does not jive with my preferences for skincare. So in the evening when I am taking my makeup off, I'm typically also trying to remove sunscreen and potentially makeup if I've chosen to wear it that day. I use a oil or a balm cleanser to sort of break everything down. I rinse that off, and then I want to go in with a cleanser to make sure I've gotten rid of all of the like leftover bits, because there's always leftover bits that you miss. And I feel like with cream cleansers, a lot of them leave a residue on the skin, and that residue just like traps in the shit that's I'm trying to remove. So I don't like it. I do think that this one rinses off okay, but it's not great. I wouldn't buy it again. I wouldn't recommend it. I just don't feel like it brings anything beneficial to the table. So this is likely going to be decluttered at some stage. I might try and use it up on my body, but I don't know. Let's move into the other cream cleanser. Since I knew I was buying this as a cream cleanser, it does clearly state on the packaging, it's a revitalizing cream cleanser and it is from Olay. On the back, it says it's a creamy formula. So I knew exactly what I was getting myself into with this product and I felt fine with that. Like there was no issues. I knew what I was doing. So there wasn't any nasty surprise when I opened it up, squeezed it out, and I'm like, oh, it's a cream cleanser. Like it says it right there. And to be fair, this one really isn't that bad. I knew what I was getting myself into. I was expecting a cream and it rinses off the face fairly well. It doesn't leave like a super thick, heavy residue. So this one, I don't mind it. If you like a cream cleanser, then it wasn't too bad. I'm going to move into one that was not what I was expecting. This one here from Software is called the Daily Cleanser. On the back, it says it's the ultimate prep before the next step. Apply a small coin-sized amount, blah, blah, blah. Rinse off. And then it's got the ingredients. To my surprise, when I used this for the first time, I discovered that it is a cream cleanser. So I purposely went in buying one cream cleanser, knowing that I don't even typically like this type of product, and specifically choosing the one that I thought I would get along with the best. Turns out I was right about that. And I ended up with 3 of them. And this one's the worst. I'm just going to put it out there. This leaves a very heavy residue on the skin. If you are trying to use this as like your last step of cleansing to remove any bits that you missed from the day, it's not going to work because the oils are going to bind to like the makeup residue and stuff on your face and it's just going to stick. It's going to stick there. It's not going to rinse away with water. You could certainly use a cloth, of course, to like try to remove the excess. But I don't do that because my skin's pretty sensitive, to be honest. And I try not to use like excessive exfoliation. So, you know, not too many physical exfoliants, which includes topical stuff like this or face cloths to wipe things off. And I don't use acids too much. Anyway, moral of the story. I've been traumatized by this brand. I've been traumatized by this product. I wouldn't buy it again. I'll probably end up decluttering it. I wouldn't even use something like this on my body because the amount of like residue that it leaves on the skin, it's just like, it's too much. I don't like it. Let's move on to Neutrogena. I want to start with Hydro Boost first, and specifically this one. This is the Cleanser Jelly Milk. Now, I didn't read all of the packaging when I grabbed this one. I was just kind of like, you know, I looked at this one first and I was like, oh yes, this is what I want. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, it looks like, you know, it's a jelly milk version. I'm going to buy that as well because I'm interested in it. And I've heard really good things about the Hydro Boost range. So, you know, I'm an idiot and I should have kept reading. It says effectively cleanses, removes waterproof makeup, boosts skin's hydration, no rinsing. No, it's a makeup remover. It's not a face cleanser. Well, I suppose you can use it for, you know, just normal cleansing, but it's also designed for makeup removing. I don't need makeup removers. I've got a million of them. Did not need to buy this. Wouldn't have purchased it if I had paid more attention. The consistency of this is like a hybrid between a like gel and a cream, and I used it in a few different ways to see how I would like to use it, if I would even like to use it. First time I just put it, like squeezed it in my hands, put it on my face and like rubbed it in. That didn't really work for me because it kind of like dries out as you're like moving it. I then also tried to rinse that off with water and it was a disaster. Then I applied it in that way again and used a like face cloth to wipe off my makeup. You can definitely do it that way if you like. I didn't find it to be like super effective, so you know, that was not the way that I was going to try and use it again. And then I put it on cotton pads and used it that way, and it works, but like I don't care for it. I can see people really loving this product and it being beneficial for their routine, but it's just not in the realm of the kind of like the process that I like to take to remove my makeup. I prefer not having to use extra like tools or disposable items to remove my makeup. So like, you know, makeup removing wipes, whether it be a disposable or a reusable, or like a face cloth to remove the excess cleanser and makeup that's on my skin before I then go in with a wash. I just don't see the point. If I'm going to do something like I'm not going to do something like that. I'm just not. Like, this is why I use oil and balm cleansers that emulsify, because all I need is my sink and some water at the end of the day to get the job done. I don't like it. I don't like it because it doesn't really vibe with the way that I like to remove my makeup. The Hydro Boost Cleanser Water Gel. This also says that it effectively cleanses, removes makeup, and boost skin's hydration, but this is a foaming cleanser. I haven't actually used this on a full face of makeup to like see if it washes off. Maybe I will have to try that, but also I'm a little bit hesitant. I'll get to it. There's an overarching issue that I had with these cleansers, which I will talk about very soon once I get through these. This is like, it's fine. I quite like the scent. Like, initially when I put this on, it smells kind of fresh. It also reminds me a little bit of like bubble bath and like soap. So I don't know. It's hard. Like, the scent initially makes me think of like freshness, but then it smells like cheap drugstore under that. Like, once my brain sort of, you know, gets past the fresh scent of it, it's like, oh, but I also smell, you know, cheap soap, which is a shame. I would love it if they would, you know, sort of go back to the drawing board with that, because I just think, I don't know, for me it's just like a dead giveaway that it's like a, you know, a drugstore product. But the overall like product itself, it works nicely. It foams nicely. It's not like super drying on the skin, which is great, and it effectively removes like any bits that you missed. So I really like that. Ultra Gentle Foaming Cleanser from Neutrogena. This is a barrier care trademark and 5% glycerin for sensitive skin. This says it cleanses and removes oil without disrupting the skin's moisture barrier, and it's fragrance free. This felt like a blast from the past when I used it. Like the packaging, the pump, the scent just took me back to like my teen years. And look, I didn't really mind it. And if I'm perfectly honest, it might actually be my favorite of all of them, because even like I kind of hate the scent of this. Even though it's quite nostalgic to me, I don't think it's a nice scent. But I think the thing about it is that I feel like it's not trying to pretend to be something that it isn't. It's a simple cleanser. I'm not sure that I agree with the sensitive skin thing, which I will talk about in a minute. But to be fair, I think this one was the one that I actually ended up liking the most. Well, I won't buy it again. Don't get it twisted. All right, last one. L'Oreal Revitalift Smoothing Cleanser with hyaluronic acid. On the front, it says, skin feels moisturized, refines skin's texture. I have things to say about this. And it visibly smooths the skin. No, it doesn't. What are you talking about? To be fair, it does contain salicylic acid, but I will mention that it is the third last ingredient in the bottle. So like it doesn't contain a lot of salicylic acid. It does contain hyaluronic acid, which was a buzzword that got me, but I don't really care for it. And it was actually one specific thing about it that triggered me, and I was like, I hate it. The first time I used it, I was like, I hate this, I don't want to use it. The scent isn't too bad. It's kind of like a subtle, kind of fresh, florally sort of something. It's a little bit nondescript, but it's, you know, it's got a scent and it's okay. I don't hate it. I should have known this when I read the front where it says smoothing. This leaves, once you like rinse it off, this leaves that like fake softening film on your skin. If you know, you know, but if you've never used a cleanser that has one of these like faux softening effects to it, I can only describe it as like, you know when you wash your hands with like a cheap bar of soap and you're rinsing it off and you keep getting that like slippy, soapy feeling on your hands even though you've been rinsing them for 5 minutes? It's kind of like that, but in face cleanser form, and I just hate it. And I think it's more apparent to me these days because I have, you know, other skin texture issues going on. So I'm like, oh, my skin feels really soft, but only in this patch where my skin was like normal. And then in this other area where I've got texture, or I've got like a really bad dry patch or some other issue going on, like it feels like shit. So I don't like it. I think if you have like, you know, young, healthy skin and you're not really dealing with any issues, cleansers that have that sort of softening film that leaves on your skin, it can be nice. You know, I've used them a lot in the past and never really had an issue until I got older. And now, like when I experience them now, I'm like, we're not pretending that my skin is better than what it is, because that's like, I'm not gaslighting myself into this crap. I actually want to like work on what my skin needs so it can naturally be the best that it can be. So for me, this is a no, and to be honest, I'll probably declutter it. I know this looks weird. I just went and took my makeup off and started editing the video and realized that I'm missing the last clip that I filmed, and I think I've just not hit the record button, so that's really convenient. Wishing I didn't take my makeup off, but also it's kind of, I guess it's appropriate. Now you can sort of see what I'm dealing with here. So the overarching issue that I had with these products, I just discovered like maybe a week ago. I have had super dry skin, which isn't unusual. I had really bad dehydration lines. My skin looked like leather. It was quite bad. I had flaking, I had tightness, I couldn't retain moisture. And the thing that like was the nail in the coffin for me and made me go and have a look at like my whole routine was I started to get itching in this area here and down my neck. And that along with like the texture and the dryness and the flakiness and all this kind of stuff, I was like, this feels like a vitamin C reaction, which I'm really sensitive to, and I try to avoid it like the plague. Anyway, I actually found it in this. Why does it have to be in like the cream cleanser that leaves a residue on my skin? And also it's the last ingredient, so like there's barely any in there, but it's enough. I'm having a vitamin C reaction, so that's super fun. The other ones don't contain vitamin C, but they contain citric acid. Citric acid is an AHA, and I find that can be quite irritating to my skin as well. But I think these guys just on their own wouldn't have been too bad. I think the fact that I'm having a skin reaction and my barrier is impaired, pairing that with, you know, AHAs in here. There's also salicylic acid in here. There's salicylic acid in this. And, you know, there's also, those ingredients are also like in my moisturizers and in other steps of my routine. I think my barrier is just shot. This isn't my first rodeo experiencing this. In fact, I feel like this is probably the third time since I've moved here to Perth in like 2 years. And I'm just, guys, I'm so over it. I'm so incredibly over it. And it makes me like, it just makes me kind of scared of drugstore skincare after this experience. I'm pretty sure I mentioned at the start of the video that, you know, I've been having a pretty good time with my skin lately. I've been using a lot of K-Beauty and J-Beauty, and I don't know why, but my skin just responds really well to them. I think also because, you know, I focus on buying products that are designed for dry skin. You know, I'm always looking for things that mention barrier repair or protection. You know, ceramides are my best friend. These sort of things have been quite prominent in my routine. And I think I just felt kind of safe. So, you know, going into testing out some drugstore stuff, I was just like, this is fine. It's fine. They're cleansers. They won't, what sort of damage can they do? My plan was to also film one of these videos with moisturizers. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to risk it. I think if I take away the experience that I've had and just look at my use of these products or my experience with these products objectively, they're fine. Like, they're okay. And for $10, I think it's great. Like, the fact that you can go to Priceline and they have a $10 cleanser sale, I think that's excellent. But I think my skin is quite, like, I know what it's very sensitive to, but I think it's just sensitive overall. And yeah, I had a bad experience, so it's kind of turned me off a bit. Not kind of, it has. Like, I just don't think a drugstore skincare is worth the risk to me. It just kind of, I'm not into it. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave that there. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to say a massive thank you to my channel members. Feel free to let me know your favorite Korean or J-Beauty skincare products. I don't care about drugstore skincare products. I don't want to know because I'm scared and I'm not going to risk it. Actually, you can let me know your favorite drugstore makeup items because that doesn't scare me, and I do want to delve into that. I'm just waiting for a sale, a good sale, because my opinion is you should never pay full price for drugstore makeup items. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to finish editing this video. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.